All right, guys, good morning. We will continue with Birkot HaShachar. We have a few more halachic laws to take a look before we move on to less dry information. So we left off last time talking about, okay, what about if I didn't get dressed, or if I didn't do something that is connected to one of these brachas? Do I say the blessings? Do I not say the blessings? How does it work? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You
just reminded me I forgot to do Modeh. I was just doing it.
Ah, good morning. Good morning. Okay, so there's actually different opinions of what to do. Some people say that if you did not become obligated, so you didn't hear the rooster, you didn't walk, you didn't get dressed, you didn't put on your belt, or you remained awake the entire night, then you shouldn't say any of the blessings you're not obligated to say. Those are some opinions, not what we do, but those are some opinions. Others says that no, all the blessings were instituted in appreciation of the natural order and how it functions. So whether you heard it or not, whether you heard the rooster or not, you are obligated to do it anyways. Some say, okay, there are certain blessings that are like more general, like the rooster or Rokah Haaretz Halamayim, the fact that there is dry land to walk. Those are like more general, but then there are others that are more particular to you, whether you got dressed, whether you put on shoes. And so they say the general ones, you can obviously say. The ones that are more directed to a benefit that you are directly having, if you didn't have that benefit, you shouldn't say the bracha. And yet others say that we should recite them all in order, because these blessings weren't instituted for your individual pleasure alone. So even if you didn't have this particular pleasure of walking or getting dressed or whatever, then you should still say it. And that is a common practice, and no one should deviate from it. But the Alter Rebbe does bring one particular exception. If you remain awake the entire night, like Shavuot or other times where we remain awake the entire night, we do say these brachas, but you should not say them before dawn. If you remain awake the entire night, you should wait till after dawn to say all the brachas. While if you go to sleep and you get up very early to catch a flight, even though at 3-4 in the morning you can't pray yet, but you should say Birkot HaShachar. So you can get ready, say Birkot HaShachar, and then go to the airport, and then eventually you'll daven, you'll do Shacharis, but you can do Birkot HaShachar because you already woke up. But if you didn't sleep, then you should wait till dawn. Now regarding someone who's blind, there are opinions that he shouldn't say the bracha of who opens the eyes of the blind, Pokeach Ivrim. Again, it's just some opinions. There are some opinions who say that somebody who's deaf shouldn't say the bracha on the rooster, but that's less common. In any ways, the practice is we say all the brachas. At least nowadays, that is how we do it. But it is desirable, it is ideal that if you're able to do all the relevant things connected to these brachas before you say the brachas, then that is better. So you get dressed, you put on your belt, you put on your shoes, you put on your hat, you wash your face, you do all the things that are connected to these brachas, and then you say Birkot HaShachar. That is the ideal. Again, if you slept dressed with your shoes on and your hat on, and you had no water to wash your face or whatever, you still say all of them. But if you're able to say them, the proper way to say them is dressed with as much of these things covered as you can. You don't need to buy a rooster. But if you do hear one, then shkoyach. No. Yeah? No?
I can get rid of my pet rooster.
Should have one.
Why not?
Everyone should have one.
There's a Sephardic custom when you move into a new house, the first night you spend it with a rooster in the home.
Okay. I'm not gonna pursue that one.
First you have to move to a new house, you buy a rooster, and then... Okay. Okay, one more thing that is relevant, although we're not going to talk about this, at least not yet, from the Hasidic perspective. But right after Birkot HaShachar, we say the brachos for learning Torah. There are 3 brachos connected to learning Torah, which we say all in the morning, right? We say, Asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei soira. We say, Hamelamed Torah le'amo Yisrael, and we say, Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, the same bracha we say before we get an aliyah to the Torah. We say those 3 brachos, which allow us to have the benefit of learning Torah throughout the whole day. Other mitzvahs, if you do it multiple times a day, you have to say multiple brachos. So if you put on your talis, and then you take it off to go home and you come back, you want to put it back on, you have to say another bracha. But you don't have to do that for learning Torah, given that technically Torah is an obligation 24/7 to study Torah. So we do say these brachos, and then we learn a little bit. We say some psukim. We chose the psukim of Birkat Kohanim, right? The blessing of the Kohanim is what we read right after, but that is literally, we're learning the written Torah. And then we say a Mishnah, Elu Devarim Shen Lam Shiur is a Mishnah where we're learning oral Torah right away. But the problem is that most of davening is Teilim, is Psukim, even the Shema is considered also learning Torah. So you have to say these brachot first. Even if, you know what, I want to lay in bed and listen to a class. I want to go review the last week's class on YouTube. This is great. You should first get dressed, say Birkot HaShachar, say Birkot HaTorah, and then you can listen to your YouTube. We're not going to delve into this now, but this could be an issue if you wake up at 2 a.m., your plan is to go back to sleep, but you're not ready. Says, you know what, I'm going to learn some Torah. Okay. But if you want to learn some Torah, you can't just learn Torah. You might have to say the brachos. What happened?
Nothing, I'm just listening.
You were like, ugh. If you learn at 2 a.m., I want to practice my kriya for the... Great, wait. You can't just go in your pajamas and start practicing. You need to get dressed. You need to wash. You need to say Birkat Torah, and then you can start practicing kriya, which is literally written Torah. Even if you don't understand what you're saying, you're still learning Torah. Because to learn the written Torah, as long as you read it, you're good. The oral Torah, you should understand it. Okay, I'm just going to say one more thing. I'm skipping a lot of stuff here that is not absolutely relevant to what we're looking into. And it is the fact that there is a guideline that, I guess, upon entering the shul, but we don't do it literally upon entering the shul, we do it later. We say the phrase, Hareini mekabel alai mitzvat aseh, I am hereby taking upon myself the mitzvah of loving my fellow Jew as myself. We do that before davening. The Baal Shem Tov explains that loving your fellow Jew is a way through which you can arrive at loving Hashem, which is one of the things we want to achieve during davening. If you daven properly, when you go to Shema and you say, "Ve'ahavta Hashem Elokecha v'chol lebavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol madecha," you shall love God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your possessions. The ideal is that when you get there, you actually feel love for Hashem. So it helps if you first feel love for your fellow Jew, besides the fact that there's nothing that gives Hashem more happiness than unity within His kids. Yeah. So that's actually in the Siddur is right after Birkot HaShachar, right? Okay.
You say that on entering the shul?
We say it whenever you get here, whenever you start the morning prayer, which is actually
But in the
quite.
Birkot comes after
Yes,
the other brachas.
yes.
So
You don't have to say when you come in the shul. You can say it when you say this part of davening, which a lot of us say at home, because at the end here we start hoidu, right?
Mhm.
Although technically the Chabad custom is you put on filling and then you start a zeu mekoman, which is like 3 pages before hoidu. The previous part you can say here before davening. You can say at home, whatever works for you. Good.
Question. So
Yes.
You said before you get called up for an aliyah, what are you supposed to?
When you get called on for an aliyah, no, you say the brachos that are there.
That's what you were referring to. There's
What?
not something to say before you say those brachos.
No, but the first bracha you get for your aliyah is also at the end of Birkot HaShachar, the same one.
Oh,
It's one of the 3 brachas we have to say to people to learn Torah. It's the same one. When you get your aliyah, even though you said this in the Siddur, you still say the bracha before and after. But the bracha before is the exact copy of the one we say, the 3rd bracha we say as part of learning Torah in Birkot HaShachar. Yeah?
Oh, right.
So this is considered also another Birkat Shachar.
It was like, you know what? It's good. We need to say this in the morning. Let's put it in here because
Okay, but this doesn't end in bracha.
which one?
Yeh ratzon mifanecha.
That is still part of the Birkot HaShachar. Yeah.
But it doesn't say,
The brachas of the Torah start right after that.
but this is the brachas of the Torah. But what about this? About Shachen Ra, Mipega Ra, Me'aina Ra?
Yeah, that's part of the preparation for the day. We'll try and get there.
We didn't.
Okay, now, so reminder, part of what we're doing in Birkot HaShachar, we're recognizing the renewal of a lot of things, appreciating the things that we're going to enjoy from the world, very basic things that we shouldn't take for granted. And it's also obviously a preparation for the actual davening. Seven minutes? How much time I have?
6:30, 3.5.
3.5?
That's all? I got 6:33.
No, 7 minutes.
6:33.
You need to fix your other eye. Then
You
it's-
just wasted 20 seconds.
You can only see half.
I stand by my half.
Okay. Now, to understand Birkot HaShachar, it is important to mention that Birkot HaShachar is comprised of 18 brachot, 18 blessings, with a 19th that was added a few centuries afterwards. If this sounds familiar, it's because it is, right? The Amida is 18 brachot, 18 blessings, and they added a 19th at some point. Birkot HaShachar is the same. It doesn't mean they were added at the same time, but numbers-wise, it's the same. In the Amida, remember they added the bracha of El Malshinim, the bracha where we are asking to be protected from people who deny the Torah, especially enemies from within, which were affecting Jewish life in a very tough way. And in Birkot HaShachar, the bracha that was added is the bracha of Hanoiten Laya'ef Koach, the one who gives to the tired strength. Yeah? And this was added by the Geoinim. It would be approximately 900 to 1100 in the Common Era, this bracha was added because they saw a diminishment in the physical and spiritual strength amongst Jewish people, and they added the bracha in the morning to the one who gives strength to the weak, or to the one who's tired. And so if you count from the bracha of Netilat Yadayim, washing the hands, until the bracha of Ha'ma'avir she'ina me'inai duma me'afapai, the one who takes the sleep away from my eyes, is 18. To get to 19, because we said, obviously we already added Hanot El Yaif Koach, to get to 19, what do you think is the 19th bracha? How do we get to 19 if we count and there's 18?
They all count as one.
No. It's not a gematria trick.
Oh, okay.
The first bracha of Birkot HaShachar is Hamapil. Hamapil is the bracha we say right before we go to sleep. It should be the last thing you say before you go to sleep, like literally, unless for Shalom Bayis you need to speak to your wife. The last thing you should say is Hamapil. And technically you shouldn't talk after that. Right? When you say Shema at night, which is it's a whole prayer, the end is a bracha where you're giving Hashem your neshama, and that is actually counted from this perspective as the first bracha of the morning blessings. Meaning that your morning will be affected directly for how you go to sleep, and how you say Hamapil, and how you say Shema Lamita, etc. Yeah? And also taking into account that the day really starts at night, right? Hashem created the world first the night and then the day. So this is the first bracha of Birkot HaShachar.
How did we get to 19? I don't count that many.
Let's count. Netilas Yadayim 1. Rofei Chol V'Lasad Mafil Asod 2. Elokai Neshama 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 17, 18. No, 16, 17, 18. No, and then, no, correct. And the 19th is really the first one, which is all the way in almost there. The prayer before retiring at night, when you say Shema, and it's a whole prayer. And this prayer ends with this long bracha that says, we'll read it. No, lest you are Lord of God, our God, King of the universe, who causes the bonds of sleep to fall upon my eyes and slumber upon my eyelids, and who gives light to the apple of the eye. May be your will, Hashem, my God and God of my fathers, to let me lie down in peace and to raise me up to a good life and peace. Let my thoughts not trouble me, nor bad dreams, nor sinful fancies, and may my bed be perfect before you. Give light to my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. Blessed are you, God, who in his glory gives light to the whole world. This is technically the first bracha of Birkot HaShachar. And that's how we get to 19. As the pasuk says, Ki rega be'apo chaim b'ritzoinu ba'erev yalim bechi b'laboker rina, the pasuk in Tehillim, for his wrath lasts but a moment, life results from his favor. In the evening, weeping may tarry, but in the morning there is joyful singing. If there is weeping of tshuva at night, as you go to sleep, and you analyze your day in Shema Lamita, and you say the bracha of Hamapil, then there will be joyful singing in the morning. Now, the real question is, now that we know that this is 18 that are really 19, and it's the same as the Amidah, which is what we just finished learning, what's going on? I mean, the Amidah is the height of the whole davening. You have to go through this whole process, including Birkot HaShachar and Korbanot and Pezukei de Zimra and the brachos of Shema and Shema to get to the Amidah, which is 18 plus 1, 19 brachos. So why is Birkot HaShachar the same? Which is just the beginning of davening. That is something we want to understand, but because David doesn't give me more time, we'll have to look at it tomorrow.
Let's take a look.
You received an extra 25 seconds.
There you go.
I'm always being
Why
polite.
the Siddur?